Just want to pop you quickly to Parliament. That's where private investigator Paul O'Sullivan is expected before the ad hoc committee, which is probing alleged corruption within the SAPS. Our reporter Mkhokheli Bandla is watching that story and joins us now live. And Mkhokheli, you're standing with the man of the moment.
You're too slow now. I can't just stand here and get...
Good morning, Ayanda, and also to our viewers at home who are indeed right now joined by Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, who is expected to be a witness today before the ad hoc committee. Thank you for joining us, sir. What are some of the things that you are looking forward to respond to? Because there's been quite a number of allegations that have been made against your name.
The people that have made allegations against me are all criminals. And this is nothing that I'm not used to. I've been investigating crime in South Africa for 36 years. In that period, I think I've put between 12 and 15 generals into the criminal justice system and 18 brigadiers. Now, when you have a corrupt criminal justice system, it stands to reason that you'll have dirty cops chasing after and dealing with people like me. You know, I just want to cast our minds back 10 years ago when I went after the second chief of police that I went after, which was Phalane. During that period, I was arrested multiple times. My staff were kidnapped. My offices were raided several times. I was held in jail and tortured for 3 days. I was yanked off a plane on my way to London with 2 minor children and assaulted in front of my 2 minor children. And here we are 10 years later, and we have some of those rogues coming back and repeating the same rubbish that they made 10 years ago. And I'm not putting up with this. I'm going to be giving the truth now.
Using the term criminals, it's not the first time you're using this term, and also you have alleged that some members of this committee are criminals. Are you still maintaining that view, and also are you going to say this before the committee?
Well, I've made the point in my submission that obtaining somebody's cellular phone records and reading them out in public, it's not my phone records, it's somebody else's phone records, but it's a criminal offence. It carries 10 years in prison to be an unlawful possession of somebody's phone records. Doesn't that make a person a criminal, whether they've been convicted or not? So if you have members of the committee in unlawful possession of documents, you know, the parliamentary privileges relates to making defamatory statements. They can say what they want, but what they cannot do is show, I've got your phone records and you sent this message and that message, and that's a criminal offence. And I've made that clear in my submission. If they want to commit those, you know, if you allow a person to come there and you ask that person, is O'Sullivan a foreign spy? I mean, that's defamatory. And the Parliamentary Privileges Act allows them to make those defamatory comments. Good luck to them. You know, I'll respond to those comments if they come again. But the reality of the situation is I've given up 36 years of my life to try and make this a country better for all South Africans. And the criminals in the criminal justice system need to be cleaned out.
As we are letting you go, there are some questions of safety concerns that you've been raising. Are you actually comfortable with your safety in this parliamentary precinct?
Yeah, we've taken steps now. I've been liaising with the Parliamentary Protection Services, and steps have been taken to ensure my ability to get in and out of the building without any undue problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There you have it, Ayanda. That's Paul O'Sullivan, who is expected to take the hot seat and the stand before the ad hoc committee now at 11 o'clock this morning. So we're going to be around and attending this committee to make sure that the SABC viewer misses nothing that is going to take place when Paul O'Sullivan is taking the stand. He is surely, what I can tell you is that he's expected to be an interesting witness before this committee. It's going to be a no ordinary and normal day before the committee. Back to you in studio, Ayanda.
You certainly do get that sense, Mkhokheli. Before I let you go, that interaction really shows us that he's a witness who's unlikely to pull any punches. But let's take a couple steps back and really just try place our viewer to get a sense of how we got here. Paul O'Sullivan initially didn't want to appear before this committee, not because he didn't want to testify, but he had raised some concerns around his safety and in fact had opted for a virtual sitting. But he'd also taken quite a bit of a swipe at some of the MPs who form part of that committee.
Indeed, that's correct, Ayanda. We now know that Paul O'Sullivan, I did ask him that particular question because he alleges that part of this committee, the members that he alleges to be criminals, and saying that he is not prepared to take any question, particularly from Umkhonto Wesizwe Party and also the economic freedom fighters, saying that some members of this committee are criminals, and he's just repeated it now and saying that he's not prepared to take any question from criminals. I can also tell you, before we arrived to where we are today, you will remember that he did not want to make it clear that he didn't want to appear before this committee in person, but eventually he had to agree. He only said that he was prepared to appear before the committee virtually, but after the intervention of the Speaker, Toko Titiza, he did now, as we see today, that he is going to appear virtually. You will understand that this process took quite a number of steps and efforts to make sure that he's here. Even the committee did threaten summons and subpoenas, but after the intervention of the Speaker, we now see the name and character and person of Paul O'Sullivan before this committee. So it will be interesting to hear how he is going to respond to a number of allegations that have been put against his name. You will also recall that the man has been charged before for impersonating IPID officials. Quite sure that this question is going to arise from the members of parliament. Also, the allegations of criminals forming part of this ad hoc committee. Surely the members of parliament will want to probe those allegations and make sure that he accounts to the allegations that he's leveled against some members of the committee. And also a number of allegations that have been risen before by the witnesses that appeared before this committee. We know that the former acting National Police Commissioner Kgomotso Phalane also alleged that Paul O'Sullivan is someone that allegedly would work with a number of journalists in the country, and also a network that made sure that Kgomotso Phalane does not get to be appointed as a full police commissioner of South Africa. So he's saying that Paul O'Sullivan was quite pivotal in making sure that his appointment is not realized, saying that Paul O'Sullivan used to allegedly work with former IPID boss Robert McBride. We know that Robert McBride did appear before this committee, but he did rubbish the allegations that were made by Kgomotso Phalane. But it will be interesting, Ayanda, to see how Paul O'Sullivan will respond to such allegations that were made about his name.
Yeah, you've covered these hearings for some time now, Mkhokheli, and I wonder if you get a sense that there's something different insofar as the security is concerned, especially in the wake of what Paul O'Sullivan had raised about, I suppose, some threats to his life.
What I can tell you in the security front of issues, Ayanda, when we got here very early in the morning, our first crossing with the SABC viewer was at 6 o'clock, and I can tell you that the precinct was not ordinary. We could see that there were specialized specialized units of the South African Police Service in making sure that the security concerns that were raised by Paul O'Sullivan are addressed. Also, when you get closer to the committee room that he is going to be appearing in, the security outside is quite tight. It's not like any other ordinary day. So we did also pose that question to him if he feels comfortable about the security concerns that he raised, and also the measures that have been taken by Parliament. Because remember, the Speaker of Parliament and the committee had to assure that Paul O'Sullivan is going to be safe when he appears before the precinct and before the committee today. So at least he does say that he sees that there are measures that are taken, but he can't also be 100% sure and be comfortable when it comes to his security. Even before we had to take this interview, he did say that to us. He has not more than 2 minutes because he is not comfortable standing outside. So he also wants to make sure that he's always inside the parliamentary precinct, just to make sure that his security detail and also the measures of him being secured within this precinct is something that is taken seriously and made sure that he is not compromised when it comes to security, at least what he tells us. Ayanda?
There's no overstating just how anticipated his testimony is. In fact, I understand Julius Malema even cancelled an interview on another platform so he could be there in person too. How much time has this committee set aside to essentially ventilate through that testimony?
Sure. Paul O'Sullivan is expected to to appear today and tomorrow. Most of the day today is going to be taken by the evidence leader, Norman Arendse, that will lead evidence up until tomorrow. We anticipate that the members of parliament are also going to get a chance to ventilate his testimony. That would be maybe from tomorrow. One other thing that is interesting is that most members of parliament are going to make sure that they are present today. As you've already mentioned, that Julius Malema has made sure that he's going to be present before this committee today to also make sure that they ventilate each and every detail of allegation that has been made by in the name of a character of Paul O'Sullivan. So you will also recall that the members of this committee have always been saying that they cannot afford not to have Paul O'Sullivan in person before this committee, rejecting the requests that were made for him to appear virtually before the committee. So I'm quite sure that the members of the committee are going to make sure that they come out in their numbers to make sure that the allegations that we've seen and heard so far are going to be ventilated. So Ayanda, it's not going to be an ordinary committee day today. Also, when you speak to him, Paul O'Sullivan, you can see that he's saying he's here to speak the truth. He's here to address each and every allegation that has been made. One other thing I can tell you now, we can see he's going out with evidence leader Norman Arendse, advocate. They're going to have a brief consultation, I'm quite sure, just after the consultation that they're going to have now, Paul O'Sullivan and also advocate Norman Arendse. The proceedings are going to start just after that. They expected the proceedings to start at 11 o'clock this morning. Ayanda?
And 11 o'clock cannot come any sooner. Mkhokheli Bandla doing a sterling job live to us there from Cape Town. For now, thanks very much indeed. Of course, as soon as Paul O'Sullivan takes to the hot seat, we'll take you back there live.